Mentor once again. What's up, 23% Nation? This is your man, Coach D. Today, I'm back with the Mentor Monday video series, where basically we talk about everything mentors. With this video, I have 5 objectives. Number 1, I want to define what a mentor is. Number 2, I want to offer you Coach D's tips. Number 3, I want to state who my mentor is for this particular video. Number 4, I want to share a quote from my mentor. And number 5, I want to list 3 reasons why I either agree or disagree with whatever my mentor is saying. So let's dive deeper. First, let's define what a mentor is. Ladies and gentlemen, 23% Nation, a mentor is defined as a person who trains and guides someone else. Now, that could be an advisor, it could be a teacher, a professor, your boss, your supervisor, maybe a pastor, or maybe your priest, right? Now, here are 3 tips that I want to offer you when it comes to finding a mentor. Number 1, it's okay for you to have more than one mentor. What I suggest is that we have health mentors, we have wealth mentors, and of course, relationship mentors. Tip number 2, find yourself at least one physical mentor. Now, a physical mentor is anyone that you can actually meet and see face to face and have a heart-to-heart conversation with them. Now, things may get a little hairy. Why? Because you may have to coordinate schedules, but ultimately, if things don't resolve themselves, you can always have a telephone conversation with that person. Tip number 3, find yourself at least one virtual mentor. Now, a virtual mentor is someone that you find online, meaning they have their own YouTube channel, maybe their own podcast, or maybe even their own blog. That way, they're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. No appointments required. Now, for today's video, I want to let you know that my mentor is, and I hope you're ready for this, is the one and only Suze Orman. That's right, guys, her name is Suze Orman. Now, here are a few things that we need to know about Miss Suze Orman. Number 1, she's a financial advisor. Number 2, she's an author. One of her most popular books happens to be called Women and Money: Owning the Power to Control Your Destiny. She's also the founder of the Suze Orman Financial Group, and she hosted the Suze Orman Show. Now, here are 2 fun facts that we need to know about Miss Orman. Number 1, she was born June 5th of 1951. And she resides in the state of Florida. So who knew Coach D and Suze Orman are actually neighbors? Maybe I should swing by and say hello. Now, her quote for this video is this. Suze Orman says, "You need as much money in the bank that makes you feel secure." I'll say it once again. She says, you need as much money in the bank that makes you feel secure. Now, according to Suze Orman, she says we need to have, number 1, an emergency fund. So hopefully that emergency fund will make us feel secure. Now, she also says that in this emergency fund, we need anywhere from 8 months to 12 months worth of living expenses. Once again, 8 months to 12 months worth of living expenses. So now that brings up 2 questions. Number 1, what is an emergency fund? And number 2, what constitutes an emergency? Well, very quickly, an emergency fund is simply a savings account that's only used for emergencies. Now, that's my segue into my next answer, which is what constitutes an emergency? Well, there are a few things. Number 1, you lose your job, or maybe you get laid off. After all, unfortunately, people are being laid off or are at least being asked not to come to work due to the coronavirus outbreak. Also, you may have to make an emergency trip in the case of a funeral, Or you may have to make emergency auto repairs. Or maybe you may have an unfortunate accident that now renders you to have to pay for medical expenses. So we now know what an emergency fund is, and we now know what constitutes an emergency. Now, this also brings up something else. Some people need to know exactly how much money needs to be in their emergency fund. So here's a quick example. Let's say that your total monthly living expenses add up to around $2,000 per month. So if we take Suze Orman's advice, 8 to 12 months, that simply means that in our emergency fund, we need to have anywhere from $16,000 upwards of $24,000 in that fund at all times. Now, I do want to give you 3 reasons why I actually agree with what Suze Orman is saying. Reason number 1, I agree. We definitely need to have 8 to 12 months worth of living expenses in our emergency fund. Guys, I'll be honest with you. Last November, I had 3 emergencies pop up. Number 1, I needed a new transmission for my car. Number 2, I needed a new computer. And number 3, I had a toothache. So, without my emergency fund, I would not be driving, I would not have my computer, and my tooth would still be hurting. Number 2, reason why I agree is because Bankrate came out with a statistic, and it says that 39% of Americans have enough money in the bank to cover a $1,000 emergency. Guys, 39%, that's less than 4 out of 10 people, right? Now, if you follow Dave Ramsey, and I hope you do, we all know that Dave Ramsey, as well as Chris Hogan, they have what they call the 7 baby steps. Now, baby step number 1 is to set up a starter emergency fund. And in that starter emergency fund, you need to have at least $1,000 in there, right? So I guess this solves the mystery of what to do with the coronavirus stimulus check that we're all going to receive, right? So please go ahead, use that money wisely. I believe all individuals are getting $1,200. Couples are getting $2,400, with $500 being extended to children. So go ahead, use that money and start your starter emergency fund. And number 3, why I agree is because I live by one of my wealthy money affirmations is this: save money and money will save you. I'll say it again: save money and money will save you. That being said, I want to offer you 3 more tips when it comes to saving money. Tip number 1, please sit down and have a conversation with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, and your wife. So this is primarily for people who are in relationships. Please sit down with the other person and come to an agreement as to how you're going to both save money. What's important is that you agree and commit. Tip number 2, review your monthly bills. Chances are you are paying some bills that you can probably have reduced, right? So think about your cable bill. Think about your insurance bills. Bills like that, you may not be using 100% of the services, so you can figure out a way to scale back, right? And then tip number 3, and this will be my last tip for the video, is to do what I call the $5 plan. Now, this is for people who want to complain and say that they don't make enough money to save. Well, how about this? What if every check you simply set aside $5? That's right. That's why it's called the $5 plan. So every time you get paid, you set aside $5 into an emergency fund. Now, if you can't do $5, do $4. If you can't do 4, do 3. If you can't do 3, do 2. And the last resort is to do the $1 plan. That's right. So let's say you get paid twice a month. Well, every month you put in $2. Believe it or not, over time, it'll add up. So there we have it, guys. That's all that I have for you today. Always remember, let's eat well, feel well, think well, do well, be well. This is your man, Coach D. I'm signing out. Always remember to take care. God bless, and never ever forget that Coach D loves you.